Is this the end for GB News? 0207 862 2222 is the number that you need to let us know your thoughts. Now, the channel has been hit by days of controversy, and today it suspended yet another presenter. You remember Dan Wootton and Lawrence Fox were both suspended after comments by Fox made about female journalist Ava Santina, regular guest on our show here. Those comments were made on Dan Wootton's show. Now, today, Calvin Robinson, another presenter there, said that he had been suspended. He had earlier criticised his bosses for being scared of the TV regulator Ofcom and, quote, afraid of the woke mob. So is this the end of GB News? Yasmin, 3 suspensions. Can the channel survive? Should it survive?
Well, I don't want to see it go, but I think it's been treated like some kind of a wild teenager by Ofcom and others for far too long. And now we know, and they know, the CEO knows that there are always limits to freedom of speech. This idea we could just get on and say what we want, you can't. Even they realise. And they realise belatedly. I think this came because they sensed that what Lawrence Fox said was, even for their ears, a bit too much for modern listeners. So I don't want them to go, but I do want them to behave in a civilised way, which they have not done for a very long time.
Well, the channel was put together as this sort of brand new way of doing news.
The teenager.
Well, it was put together to offer a new angle on news, perhaps a brand new. But freedom of speech was at the centre of it. Now, this morning, the chief executive of GB News, Angelos Frangopoulos, was with Amal Rajan and Nick Robertson on the Today programme. Here's what he had to say on Radio 4.
I'll start by saying that I was appalled by those comments. They are not in keeping with the values of us as a business, as a media company. And obviously we took action immediately. But there is a process that needs to be followed, and we expect that process will be completed very soon.
Nina, you've appeared on the channel. In fact, you've appeared on the very show that this whole happened on Dan Wootton's show.
On Dan Wootton's show, it's a 2-hour show that runs from 9 until 11, Monday to Thursday. There's a panel of 3. I'm not that. There's something called The Clash that he does at about 9:20, where a particular topic is discussed, and it's usually one person against another, except when I've done it before, it's not just me against one other. There'll be a third person, and there's also Dan, whose views do not reflect mine. And the reason I have gone on GB News is that I completely oppose most of the views that are spouted on.
Would it be fair to say that you're there for the balance?
I'm there for the balance.
Right.
So I have to brace myself to go in and do that 10 minutes. And because I'm up against not just 1 or sometimes 2, but 3, because if it's felt, I feel that the debate isn't going the way required, then the other person will jump in, and it's quite but I do it because somebody's got to counter the views. Somebody's got to say these things. You say this is not right, or but the other people I've been on with sometimes. I remember one who I won't name. She said, "I love this, Dan." She was all over it. "I love this, Dan, because you can say anything you want." She said, "I went on Good Morning Britain, and Susanna Reid had a go at me, but now I can say anything I want at all." And I was looking at her thinking,
I did 3 right at the beginning while Andrew Neil was there. They made, my agent thought it would be a really good idea. I did 3 programmes. And after that, I swore I would never go into that area because exactly what you said, it's imbalanced with just a touch of balance so that they can kind of get away with it.
And I've refused to go on Jacob Rees-Mogg. I wouldn't do that. I've refused to go on Lawrence's show. I won't do that.
Cristo, what are your thoughts on this? I think it's important for us to say that you work for what might think is a rival channel as well, Talk TV. So I think that's important to say.
Be in a position sort of contractually that I could go on GB News. But I admire you, Nina, and I think that it's a problem that a lot of people, I think it's a really good thing that you go on that channel because I think that a lot of the people who are calling for it to be closed, and I know that neither of you are, but those that are saying now it's got to be closed, this is terrible that this is all going on. Well, if you had appeared on it more, if some of these people actually went on the channel and had the debate, maybe they wouldn't be in a situation where they had not quite enough balance. I find that a little bit off that people are doing that. But secondly, this channel, whether people like it or not, has an audience that feel like they're not represented and feel like they're not represented in the mainstream media. Now, you can have, I think, free speech on a TV channel that's near the knuckle, but I think where GB News has got to work on what their product is actually challenging some of those views. And sometimes when you're a presenter, you may well agree with what your commentator is saying, but it is actually your job to play devil's advocate and say, actually...
But the problem is it was a false prospectus when they said, this is a channel for freedom of speech, no lines. Everybody has lines on freedom of speech. It's just where the line is. And I think they found their line.
Well, I'm kind of a little bit surprised by how surprised they've been, Calvin Robinson, who's the latest person to be suspended, because they've got form on this. They've suspended somebody before. Geeta Hari, of course, a press advisor to Boris Johnson. He famously took the knee on air. He was one of their presenters and he left the channel. He was not brought back. So they have done this before. There are certain lines that they've drawn for themselves where they won't accept.
But he was the woke... He was part of the woke.
Possibly. Let's talk a little bit about Ofcom and their role here. They have been criticised for not being strong enough. It's interesting for Ofcom because Ofcom can't react preemptively. They have to react to something that's already been broadcast. Now, it's important to say, I think someone will correct me on this, there's 16 investigations that have happened. Yeah. I think 3 have been sorted. And, you know, breaches have been found. There are a few more going on at the moment. But is Ofcom too weak, do we think?
I think so. I think it's very weak. And we need a complete overhaul of Ofcom, actually, because, I mean, like tonight, you know, Lee Anderson is going to be interviewing Suella Braverman. Mm-hmm. How is that balanced? Show me where the balance is here.
Well, no, I'm going to jump in here because I think actually he can interview Suella Braverman, but what is required in that is producers to say, right, I'm sorry, you have to take the devil's advocate role. You can even say, look, I fundamentally agree with you, Suella. However, there are going to be voters that disagree.
That's never going to happen. And I think you hit something here, because it's the professionalism. A professional broadcaster would know where the balance lies and make sure that the balance is maintained.
Okay.
And I feel that's not what happens.
OK, let's hear what viewers are saying. Ray in Hampshire. Good afternoon, Ray. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are it's ridiculous what's being said. It's nice to hear a programme that people can say what they feel and you get the truth. All the other media programmes, they're frightened to say a word of what they think or what they would like to say. So everything is just dumb as far as I'm concerned. At least on that programme, you don't have to watch it, but at least you hear the truth, what people really think. So,
Ray, are you saying that Nina, Krista and Yasmin are sitting here not being able to say what they think?
Yes.
Really? Well, let's ask them.
Ray, excuse me.
I'll tell you one thing. If they and you were honest, you wouldn't be saying everything you say.
Excuse me, Ray, nobody has ever shut me up or made me... I mean, I've got into trouble for my views in the past and being too honest, if you like. But nobody is telling me what to say, and certainly not Cristo and certainly not Yasmin.
Ray, what do you think we're not saying? What do you think...
Can I say something? Have you ever sworn at anybody? Have you ever sworn at anybody?
Not on air, Ray.
Well, you still have, so you're not being truthful. If you
no,
do,
that's no.
Okay.
I think, Ray, I'm afraid you're.
Ray, I think I'm going to shut down this conversation. Make of that what you will. I think if you think that freedom of speech means that you can say anything you like, including swearing, I'm not quite sure you've understood what freedom of speech means.
Also,
perhaps.
I don't think they swear on GB News.
Well, no, they can't because they are also operating under Ofcom rules, which this morning their chief executive, Angelos Frangopoulos, was actually quite strong on. He said, we want it to be regulated by Ofcom, and those are the rules.
I wonder if Ray teaches his children to swear wherever they are.
I don't know, but thank you for your call. Of course, all views are welcome, and I'm hoping that all three of you are able to say what you feel and what you're thinking and be honest.
I can't tell them what I think about you.
Yeah, only when it comes to you are we restrained.
Those views. But so finally, I think you're all in agreement, though, that there is a place for something like GB News, but perhaps what do you think they need to do in order to move forward?
Like I say, grow up, be adults. Understand that there is no absolute freedom of speech, and today the CEO has realised that there is a line. But actually, there's been a problem with Button for a long time, and they hung on to him.
Well, yeah, I think that's unfair to say that, because again, that is not based on anything that is solid, and I think it's important.
No.
I think let's not go into the particulars for the presenters. As a channel, though, something that's new, something that's somebody who was previously a guest on this show many times, Christopher Hope, who used to do the political editor for The Telegraph, a very good journalist, very well-respected journalist. He is now the political editor of that channel.
I told him, what the are you doing?
But he's there. There are some good journalists doing good work on GB News.
Sorry, go on.
So what do they need to do in order to?
The production needs to make sure that the presenters don't have the freedom that they think they have.
Okay.
And go to the line, know where the line is. I think the line can be a bit further on GB News than it is on other broadcasters, but know where that line is and don't cross it.
Okay.
Andrew Pearce had to pull Beverly.